Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Chad Silver, Monique Robinson, and we have a special guest today, Ariel Cadet. Welcome to the 4 to 5.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. It's Friday. We're having a good time.
What a perfect day to join us, too, on a Friday, because everyone's a little bit crazy on a Friday.
Yeah, everybody's a little bit more loose. So
absolutely.
We'll have fun.
Well, thanks for watching us on air, online, Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app. And we're doing this fun thing on Facebook now where we're showing you our cameras from the Greensboro Science Center so you can see the sharks and the stingrays and all that fun stuff. So join us, hop in the comments, and let us know that you are here. Weather is a big talker today, and not in a bad way, in a good way.
You're dancing, so it must be
Yes,
good.
because when I walked outside this morning, I was like, oh, this is what I forecasted, and this is what it should feel like. Temperatures in the 80s, upper 70s, 78 is the current temperature in Greensboro, 81 in Burlington, but the feels like, generally in the summertime, there's a drastic change in the feels like temperature versus the current temperature, roughly a 5-degree or maybe sometimes even 10-degree difference. Today, we're just right around those same numbers. So it feels like 79 in Greensboro, feels like 82 in Burlington, feels like 82 in Asheboro. 84 is the warmest number you'll see, and that's owed to these dew points reading in the 50s. In the summertime, these dew points are in the 70s. This is when it feels like a sauna, when it's sticky, when you're like, whew, I just need to take a seat. That's what it feels like mostly in the summertime. But now with those dew points reading in the 50s, it feels so much better walking outside. And if you're like me, earlier today, it definitely felt like it heading out the door. The dew points over the next 20 hours are staying in the comfortable range. We're having dew points reading in the 60s and then staying in the 50s, and then overnight, if you're going to be out really late tonight or early tomorrow morning, it's going to be chilly, which is kind of weird to say in the summertime, but it's going to feel good when you walk outside tomorrow morning. So your Saturday start, you may just need to wear a longer sleeve or just really just soak it all in with the short sleeve, because it's not going to stay that way for too long. As we go over the next several days, those dew points climbing back up into the 60s, and those temperatures staying though in the 80s. Those storm chances coming back for the weekend, and I'll talk more about it coming up.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, someone shot and killed a Wake County Sheriff's deputy last night. Investigators are still looking for the person who shot 48-year-old Ned Bird last night as he stood outside his patrol car. Bird had served the county for 13 years. There have been 6 law enforcement officers shot in North Carolina in the last 3 weeks. 2 were in our area, 1 in Clemens, the other in Caswell County. Greensboro police are asking for help solving a recent homicide. They're trying to figure out who shot and killed 41-year-old Joyelle Glover. Someone shot her around 2 a.m. on July 30th on Gate City Boulevard near Secrets Cabaret. Call Crime Stoppers if you know who's responsible. The Guilford County Sheriff's Office is looking for a stolen church trailer. Deputies say the thief took it Wednesday from Summit Church in Oak Ridge. You can see the suspect in surveillance pictures hitching the trailer up to a white Chevy Silverado. The trailer, if you see it, it has a cross logo on the side with the word "serve" underneath it.
Greensboro Transit is continuing its partnership with Guilford County Schools. GTA says all GCS students are allowed to ride city buses for free this school year. The association says partnerships gives students other options for attending class or after-school activities. To be clear, this is just an additional transportation offer. GCS leaders have not said anything about suspending bus routes. GCS is also beefing up security this school year. Leaders are implementing a new alert system in all schools. Anyone with the district will be able to alert a school, facility, or administrator in an emergency. The system can notify people through text, email, or phone call. The district is also installing body scanners at all high schools.
As we approach the school year, health experts are warning parents about the resurgence in vaping and e-cigarette use in kids. Alyssa Dittner is a complex disease navigator and COPD program coordinator at Novant Health. She says 1 in 5 high schoolers is becoming addicted to nicotine, which makes them 4 times more likely to become a cigarette smoker in the future.
Juul specifically contains 5% of nicotine concentrate, so that's equivalent to about 20 cigarettes worth of nicotine in one pod. The nicotine in the vape pens are just a lot more strong, and people are just consuming a lot more, so then they're putting themselves at a higher risk of getting, lung cancer and heart disease and stroke. And
Dittner says about 35% of parents are not even aware that their kids are vaping. She recommends parents educate themselves about vaping products before talking to their children about the dangers.
Really just supporting and not scolding your child, I think is really important. Just opening up that dialogue to inform them about the risks. Because again, many people really think that e-cigarettes are safe and just water vapor, but it really consists of many chemicals and heavy metals.
Quitting smoking isn't easy. It can be frustrating and exhausting, but there are several free resources that can help. For more details, just look for this story on WFNYnews2.com. There's just so much when it comes to preparing for back to school. You know, you need the supplies, you got to do your medical checkups, but this was an angle I hadn't really thought of before until I was doing this story when she said 1 in 5 high schoolers addicted to nicotine, and when I was reading more about this, it's 1 in 20 middle schoolers.
Oh my gosh.
So to think about the number of kids that just have this at arm's reach.
And it's wild that, so the problem is similar to when we were kids, but different. It's about nicotine, but it's not about cigarettes, right? It's about the vaping.
Right.
Which, so it's wild that it's still an ongoing issue with just a different product.
It's a different thing, right? I know that, you know, even in your college towns that there are kids that, you know, have access to that as well, and they're just, you know, it's so easy to get addicted because it's just so easy to just grab and have and, you know, to grab and stuff.
They're available everywhere. And when it comes to talking to your kids, you know, some parents might be like, my kid is not doing that. You don't know, and I feel like if you don't talk to them, they're going to get it from somewhere else, like on the school bus or in the locker room, and that's not where you want, you know, your kids to be getting advice.
And I can admit, I've tried vaping before, and I mean, there are some really good flavors out there.
There's some the ones that smell really good.
Yes,
fruity. A lot of them are
taste good.
fruity.
I mean, it's much different than cigarettes. I've tried cigarettes before too.
Yeah, and it's not as cool to do that, right?
Yeah.
But now
Right.
kids are really want to like this cool flavors, fruit flavors, things like that.
And we've seen Attorney General Josh Stein and others from around the country who are trying to put a stop to some of the flavors of these, which I think will help because
it probably
if
draws the
tastes good,
children.
Yeah,
because it
they
tastes
want
good.
to try that.
I mean, it tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Who doesn't want something like that?
That is true, yeah. Well, we're going to turn to this now. We're helping students and teachers start the year right with our Tools for School drive. Put newly purchased supplies in donation boxes at Walmart stores. We'll also have a one-day supply drive at the Walmart on Battleground Avenue on August 24th. The supply drive runs through September 5th. We also want to hear the concerns of parents with school-aged children. Text the word survey to 336-379-5775 and we'll respond with a link to our parents survey.
Panthers pride, it was on full display last night inside Bank of America Stadium, and for good reason. People flooded the bank for Fan Fest. They got to see the team practice, performances by the Top Cats and Sir Purr, plus a fireworks and laser show to end the night. While there were definitely a lot of fun moments, there was one incident where fans got a little too rowdy. Some of our colleagues were standing near the tunnel when they say wide receiver DJ Moore stopped signing autographs and jumped into the stands to break up a fight. Our photojournalist says Moore saw a child crying and decided to intervene. He says Moore tried to calm the adults down by saying this is a family event and there's no place for violence. It's unclear what started that fight, but it looks like Moore got the point across.
Yeah.
Well, I do appreciate him stepping in. That's a risky move.
That is risky. I watched another angle of that video and he got up there very quickly and I couldn't see what the argument was or if it was a physical fight, but you just never know what you're walking into.
Right.
But a big thing that stuck out to me was the number of children that were around in that area as well.
Yeah, I know Amanda Ferguson, our sports director, posted that on her story, and I just kept on watching it over and over again because I was like, he literally jumps up, you know, on there and just talking to people. I mean, it's very commendable of him to do that. You know, he sees that happening. He wants this to be a family good time for everybody. So I mean, hats off to him for doing that.
And on the flip side, I mean, he's a star Panthers player. So once you get up into the crowd where there are a lot of people that you don't know and they're already in the middle of a heated argument or a fight.
Who you are.
Exactly. I mean, think about if he would have gotten hurt. I mean, you're not just hurting a person, but I mean, you're impacting like the Panthers overall. And I know we've seen sometimes basketball players will get into fights with fans, and I mean, they can be fined by the NBA for that. So I don't know if there are any rules when it comes to Fan Fest because it's not an actual game. We'll have to see. But I mean, it was a pretty wild video.
It was wild, but luckily, you know, things went smooth because it could have went left. It could have went to a different direction.
Right.
So.
And again, shame on people for getting into a fight.
There were
at
so many
FanFest.
kids out there.
and
That
it's supposed
that
to
was
be-
my first thing. Like,
Yeah.
there's kids crying and all types of stuff. That is too much.
What could it have been about? Like, you're at FanFest, it's football.
Right.
Like,
They were
it's so
arguing
much
about
fun.
who was the biggest fan.
Maybe that's what it was.
It's like when you see people getting into fights at Disney World.
Yeah, it's the
This is
happiest
the fun
place on
time.
earth. You're
Right.
supposed to be having a good time, so hopefully they settled it and everything's good.
Well, if you missed the fun parts of FanFest, you can watch the replay on the new WFMY News 2 Plus streaming app. You can download it for free on Roku or Amazon Fire TV. And don't forget, tomorrow kicks off the preseason. You'll be able to watch all 3 preseason games here on WFMY, the official home of the Carolina Panthers. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back. Remember when ATMs used to have little houses? Many of those small buildings have gone unused for years until now. Check out how one Colorado entrepreneur is remixing the space.
It's hard to have the place to put all of these parts, and then it's hard to travel with these, and then it's even harder to have neighbors that are understanding. Yeah, where I live I do have drums, but it's not always playable. Okay, my name is Mirna. I've been playing the drums since I was a child, but it was a hobby, and then recently, the last 4 years, I focused more on it to be more professional. This space is called Drum Box.
Yeah, that was also a walk-in ATM that was built in the 80s.
Jake is the founder and the owner of Drum Box.
Drumbox is a place for people to be able to play real drums out loud and have their own space to not bother anyone.
It's for me or people like me to come in and either practice in a place where no one is going to complain about the noise.
You book sessions online, you get the place to yourself, and everything's provided.
My main goal in life has been like to empower women or people that are not seen, minorities, and so I've seen very little women play the drums, and maybe even less playing metal or extreme metal. It is important. It expresses who I am. It shows that women can do things. Me having a space to do that is necessary, because then that will guarantee that I'll continue to have a place to learn more, get better.
Yeah, that's the best thing. That's what makes me really happy and really excited, is just knowing when somebody is really getting use of the space.
That's pretty cool. That story is from our Colorado sister station, where there's already 2 drum box locations. They say the next one is coming in Nashville, Tennessee. Pretty cool.
That is cool. But how appropriate in Nashville, right?
Yes. I never would have thought to do that with those little ATM boxes, you know, like nobody uses them anymore. So, you know, you never know what to do.
And it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if either one of you ever played an instrument growing up, but practicing, say if you live in an apartment or something like that, people next door might be able to hear you, like, quiet it down. I didn't grow up in an apartment, but just even being in the house with my parents, they might be sleeping and I'm trying to practice my scales for an assignment the next day, but having a place where you can practice and be yourself and not, you know, have to worry about quieting down is pretty cool.
I only played a recorder. Didn't everybody play
your
that?
instrument.
Hot cross buns.
Hot cross buns.
One a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. I still have my recorder.
And then did you get like little different strings when you got like a different level? That's what they did. Yeah, at my school they had like, if you got one song, they'd give you like a yellow string, and if you got the second song, you got a green string. So it's like, it's kind of like a black belt.
For the
like,
recorder?
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it was
So
really
y'all
cool.
were getting intricate
Yeah,
with the recorder.
it was starting to get a
Okay.
little bit, you know, people were like, oh, I have a black string and you don't, so.
I mean, I probably didn't get any strings because I wasn't very good at it. I could just play hot cross
Were
buns.
you the kid that didn't practice and try to blend in with everyone,
Yeah,
like
I was
looking to
that
the
kid.
person next to
I
you?
was that kid.
Nope,
Oh my
I learned how to
gosh.
play, and my parents are probably still nightmares about this to this day.
Yeah.
Probably threw it out.
I must admit, because mine is still at my parents' house, when I went home to visit them
It
a couple
is?
months ago, I pulled out the recorder and I was hot cross bunning.
You still knew it.
Yeah, I do.
Wow. Meantime, people are saying hello to Ariel on the Facebook chat, so come say hello to her. She's filling in today, and she would love to see you
Yes,
on
I would.
Facebook. We'll be right back.
Alrighty then, so most places across the central Piedmont are getting to see blue skies. Other folks get a little bit more cloud cover, but overall it's still a really nice Friday evening. And as you're planning to head outdoors for the weekend, well, weather conditions are still going to be refreshing and welcoming. I mean, compared to the humidity we felt the last several weeks, I mean, I know you're going to likely enjoy your weekend. Saturday, I'm giving it an A+ because it's going to be cool and it's not going to be humid, and the storm chance, well, there are none. As we go through the day on Sunday, things are just about the same. Temperatures in those low 80s, still no humidity. We do have a small storm chance, but mostly concentrated to the western Piedmont. Elsewhere, things should be mostly dry, and it's going to be a cool start to the day on both days. And when I talk about cool start, I said in the earlier part of the show, it will be chilly. These are the temperature reads, 50s, and there's no dew point, so it's going to feel like 50s for you. So as you walk out the door on Saturday morning, it's going to be a chillier start. By the afternoon, temperatures in the low 80s. We do see some clouds on this futurecast, but no showers and no storms. As we continue through the rest of your Saturday, temperatures staying in the low 80s. Now, as we go through the day on Sunday, that's when things have a slight change. We're seeing more clouds building in, some of which will produce a few showers and storms across the area, but still not a complete washout. We do see overall more cloud cover, though, as compared to Saturday. So the difference between Saturday and Sunday, more clouds Sunday, better chance of seeing a slight shower on Sunday. But both days have cooler temperatures and both days have low humidity. As we go through the week, though, the start to your Monday, well, that's when storm chances become more likely. You can see on your 7-day, things get active for your Monday and your Tuesday and your Wednesday, Thursday through Friday. You can see all of those temperatures, though, are below average. That average temperature for this time of year is 87 degrees, and all of these temperatures range from about 3 to 4 degrees below that, 3 to 5 degrees below that, and Wednesday being the coolest day of all, really dropping down to 7 degrees below average. So this entire week is a cool one ahead.
It's that Friday feeling that makes you just want to shout from the rooftops. At least that's how I'm feeling. Whether you've had a great work week or need some cheering up, WFNY News 2's Megan Malaris makes it her mission each week to find the blessings bringing joy to you.
Deborah had eye surgery and now is seeing great with no glasses. Debbie's family got together for the first time since COVID and they had a cookout. It was the greatest blessing to be together. Janet had the best time in Pigeon Forge with family she hadn't seen in years. Alicia and her husband celebrated their 22nd wedding anniversary and just took a trip to Georgia. Yvonne and her friend are going to Jacksonville, North Carolina for the weekend. Alicia's 8-month-old granddaughter learned how to clap her hands and is close to crawling. Felicia celebrated a birthday, her husband's is today, and their 29th wedding anniversary is August 14th. And Anne is thankful God is good all the time.
And all the time, God is good.
Yes.
That's great. What about y'all?
Yeah.
Well, why are everybody looking at me?
I mean, you're the one that has
the
so many
one.
great
Yeah,
things
you
going on in your life
Well,
with your engagement and
I
everything.
will say though, my engagement party dress came in the mail today, so I was super excited about that because it looked good in person, not just on the pictures. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, we saw pictures of it and it looked really good on her. I think today it's been really fun being able to fill in with you guys and just kind of get a feel of a different show. You know, I'm usually on the weekends, so this is really fun and I'm enjoying it.
We're happy to have you. You've been doing a great job.
Thanks.
Ma'am?
So, I don't know if you guys saw it on my Facebook page or not. I made my first food reel.
Ooh, I did see that.
I made
it
a
looks good.
beef enchilada pie, casserole, and so it took about 50 minutes to make the video all together, but it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, so I've been studying other people's videos. Mine was a little amateur looking, but I promise I'm going to get better with
one.
time.
Yeah, it's still,
You don't want your first one to be like the best video you've ever made and ever will make. I mean, you gotta work up from that, right?
Yeah.
Everything has been good for me this week, but I think maybe the Panthers coming back is. And it's not just the Panthers, but it's football season in general. I love a good football season.
There's something about in the air. You can smell it, you know?
Maybe the weather this week, today now.
And even tomorrow is good. I always love football season. I was a cheerleader for 14 years, so football is my jam. Not that I pay attention to the game, but I'm always here for the cheerleaders and dancers no matter what.
You should try out for the Top Cats.
Yeah, you could be there.
I can see it.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You have the spirit.
I've done it for years.
I've seen you.
I was about to do something, but then I realized I had a dress on and heels. But I was like,
next time.
Let's see your best. What is it called? A herky?
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see your best herky.
I have a dress on and heels. I would do it though.
That might be a part of the audition.
Video of you jumping up at the game.
Right, I got hops.
You got hops.
I got hops.
Maybe she'll do it during the commercial break for the Facebook.
Yes.
viewers.
Maybe.
Okay, so hop on and maybe you'll see it. We'll be right back.
There's now your cameras and it wasn't. We talked about it not being clean. Focus on the books. We told you. We already talked about this not being clean.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5, where the men are outnumbered today.
Yeah, it's the girl show.
Happy Friday to you. I'm Chad Silver here with Ariel Cadet.
Hello.
And she is filling in today, so give her some love on the Facebook chat. Also, Monique Robinson and Lauren Coleman.
Hey, everybody. Yes, we are live on Facebook. Join the chat. We want to hear from you because we have lots to talk about today. We're going to get started with some more news. Right now, House Democrats are hoping to pass a landmark climate, health care, and tax bill. The Inflation Reduction Act includes nearly $400 billion to fight climate change. It also allows Medicare to negotiate drug prices and limits costs for seniors.
Republicans strongly oppose the legislation, arguing it could backfire and end up raising inflation rates. Our National Verify team takes a closer look at both arguments and how the bill could impact you.
For supporters, typically on the left, the bill is being celebrated as a big win for environmental efforts and healthcare access. But critics, typically on the right, say it's full of overtaxing and overspending. So what's really in the bill? Our sources are Bill Hoagland from the Bipartisan Policy Center, Chris Edwards from the Cato Institute, the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, and the bill itself. When it comes to taxes, the biggest change is that large corporations, earning at least $1 billion annually, will have to pay a 15% minimum tax. It also enacts a 1% tax on stock buybacks, when a company buys back its own shares. The plan would also boost funding to the IRS.
By $80 billion.
Most of it going to enforcement will allow for there to be an increase in collections.
With health care, the bill allows for Medicare to negotiate prices for some drugs, and it creates caps on drug costs for those on Medicare.
It puts a cap, which would be immediate, on the out-of-pocket expenditures that the individual has to pay at $2,000.
The bill also extends financial assistance until 2025 for many enrolled in the Affordable Care Act, which would have expired at the end of this year. The legislation also involves environmental changes, offering incentives and tax credits for businesses for being green. For example, those that produce or invest in wind or solar. And it would also offer credits to consumers, like those with clean energy expenses, such as solar panels or who buy electric vehicles.
It's really a cornucopia of energy and environmental subsidies.
Perhaps the biggest question here has to do with inflation and what the bill will actually do to curb rising costs. The Congressional Budget Office scored the bill, and remember, there are a lot of different factors at play here, impacting different groups in different ways. But ultimately, analysts say the bill will have a negligible impact on inflation in the next year.
Court papers released today show the FBI recovered documents labeled top secret from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Officials say the documents include information that could harm the U.S. if it's made public. This morning, former President Trump called the report a hoax and then questioned whether agents were planning information during the search. According to the Washington Post, the documents in question are related to nuclear weapons.
The real story will be with the release of the affidavit itself. Which is not currently planned to be released. It is filed under seal.
Attorney General Merrick Garland says the DOJ filed a motion in the courts yesterday to make the documents public.
Alrighty then, when we talk about storm chances, they're on the low end today. Not really looking at active weather for your Friday afternoon. Do see some downpours pushing it now to Mount Airy, but elsewhere things are dry across the entirety of the map. When I widen this view, you can see much of the activity is concentrated offshore of the Carolinas. There is a severe thunderstorm warning well down to the south of South Carolina, but things are mostly dry. Those temperatures staying in the comfortable range. 78 in the Triad, 82 in Raleigh, and all along the coast, so temperatures reading in the 70s. That's behind those showers that have pushed through. Whenever you're in the vicinity of a storm that just made its way through, temperatures are cooler, and that's why all along the coast they're reading in the 70s as of now, except for down in Hilton Head where they're at 88. But the big difference between here and there is those dew points. Those dew points still reading in the 70s all along the coast, and the dew points here are in the 50s. Feels good here. Down there, not so much. It's still quite sticky at area beaches. So tonight, temperatures falling down into those low 60s. Tomorrow, we're climbing on back up into the 80s, but the humidity is still taking a break from us, and that's good. With those light winds out of the north, it still will feel quite comfortable. Now, storm chances aren't in the forecast for your day tomorrow, but as we go through next week, that's when they start to return back into the forecast, where we're all keeping our eye to the radar. But if you're not a fan of the temperatures, but you're okay with the storm chances, well, take notice. They're staying in the 80s all throughout this upcoming week. So although we do have those storm chances returning and those dew points will climb back into the 70s and it will feel sticky once again, the temperatures, well, they're giving us a break still all throughout this week. They're staying in those low 80s.
In case you missed it, the CDC has relaxed its COVID-19 guidelines. Now health leaders say 6 feet of social distancing is no longer recommended. This could bring big changes to the classroom.
The CDC's new guidelines mark a significant change from protocols that have kept Americans on edge for 2.5 years of the pandemic. Among its new recommendations, 6 feet of social distancing is no longer recommended. Also, people exposed to the virus no longer have to quarantine at home, but should wear masks for 10 days and test for the virus on day 5. But the guidelines around masking indoors, especially where community COVID levels are high, remain the same.
We're in a different place now with boosters, with antivirals, with monoclonal antibodies. I mean, things are much different in how we can keep people out of the hospital. Vaccinated plus an infection, hybrid immunity is very strong. And I finally see that the CDC is recognizing that.
And big changes for kids at schools across the country this fall. Masks will be optional in most districts, with some of the largest scaling back or eliminating COVID testing requirements. The American Federation of Teachers said it welcomes the CDC's new guidance. Still, the U.S. is recording more than 100,000 cases and some 500 deaths a day.
With what the tools we have, the way we keep updating them, the way we keep building better treatments, I am confident that we're going to be able to stay ahead of this virus.
The CDC estimates between vaccines and prior infections, around 95% of Americans over the age of 16 currently have some level of protection. Dan Lieberman, CBS News, New York.
The CDC also released a new COVID spread map. This was last week's map of our area. We highlighted Guilford there in the middle. Rockingham and Caswell were in green, which is the lowest level of spread. Guilford, Randolph, and Davidson were in yellow, the mid-level, but several surrounding counties were in orange, the highest level. Now check out this new week's map. Alamance dropped back down to yellow, but there's a lot of orange now. Guilford, Rockingham, Randolph, and Davidson all saw increased spread in the last week. Caswell stayed green, one of just 3 counties statewide reporting low spread. The CDC bases these maps on hospital admissions, hospital beds occupied by someone with COVID, and new cases. But keep in mind the case counts don't include at-home tests, since most people don't report the results after taking a test at home.
Right now, doctors are encouraging parents to get their children's back-to-school shots. Local health departments are holding clinics to get kids up to date. They're open to all students regardless of insurance.
These vaccines are required based on the general statute in North Carolina, but they are recommended from the CDC. And so our state then enacts the general statute to require them. And our goal, of course, is to keep children in school and to prevent the outbreak of any communicable disease. So it's very important to keep those children in school and healthy. So these vaccines will prevent them from these communicable diseases.
Head to our website to the education section under the news tab for clinic times and locations and vaccine deadlines. Right now, students at one Guilford County school are getting some much needed supplies. Here is a live look at a supply drive happening right now at Vandalia Elementary in Greensboro. It's hosted by Miami Heat basketball player Bam Adebayo's foundation. Organizers are handing out supplies to 100 students at today's open house. They also say several teachers are getting Walmart gift cards for classroom items. Adebayo attended High Point Christian Academy and led the Heat to the 2020 NBA Finals. Those are some really cute goodie bags.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, a lot of them too.
Yeah.
That's great. I can't wait to see my favorite shots when professional athletes are with little kids is the little kids like,
yeah, he's so much taller than them.
Hey, how are you?
That's so cool of him to do that.
I love the ones that are like big fans too. They're just so excited. Like I just met my my hero.
Yeah.
But it's great to see them get back because, as we know, school supplies are so expensive.
Absolutely.
And anything can help. I know there's a drive almost every other day, but it just shows how big of a need it is.
For sure, yeah, and it just especially if you have a lot of kids, right? Like, so if you're, you have one kid in 6th grade, elementary, so you're getting so many different things. So being able to go to something like this is really helpful for those parents, for sure.
And Bam is a legend in this area. I mean, granted, he played at High Point Christian and then went on to college, but is now in the NBA, playing for the Miami Heat. I mean, we watched him grow up in this community, and so to have him come back is just great.
And he continues to give back because just a few months ago, we did something on him where he was giving back to children and the youth and giving out jerseys and different things like that. So it's really nice to see it when people, they make it, but they still remember where they came from.
And I think that's always a goal, right? So when you get to the place that you want to be, you want to share that with the people that got you to where you are. So I think that's especially great for him to be like, you know what, I'm going to go back to my community and give back because I was in that spot and I want to help those kids succeed.
We are going to be interviewing Bam later this afternoon too, so we'll have some of that conversation in our later newscasts.
That's definitely something to look forward to. And we're helping students and teachers start the year right with our Tools for School drive. Put newly purchased supplies in donation boxes at Walmart stores. We'll also have a one-day supply drive at the Walmart on Battleground Avenue on August 24th. The supply drive runs through September 5th. And we also want to hear the concerns of parents with school-aged children. Text the word survey to 336-379-5775 and we'll respond with a link to our parent survey. We'll be right back.
Nighttime sky gazers were blown away yesterday by the last supermoon of the year. And tonight, you're in for a light show with the Perseids meteor shower. This meteor shower is associated with the comet Swift-Tuttle. They get their name Perseids because they appear to hail from the constellation Perseids. It peaks today, but it will be ongoing through the 24th, so you got a couple more days to check it out. Here's the latest details of that meteor shower. So the best viewing of it will be after 11 p.m. So you got about 6-ish more hours until you really get to that peak of things. Now we're expecting up to 50 meteors per hour, and stay away from light pollution if you're trying to see it, because you really want to get to a dark spot in the sky to really see this meteor shower.
Did you guys grow up like knowing that if you saw a shooting star, you had to make a wish?
Yes, I've never seen one before.
Never?
No, there are times I thought I saw one and it was just an airplane.
It's a very slow
You're from the Midwest. I'm sure you know, you saw a lot of them.
We had no light pollution.
Yes.
The only light pollution was the actual meteor.
Exactly. Well, that's really cool. That's cool to, you know, especially on a Friday night. That's a great thing to do with family, after work, after school, kind of get together and see what they can.
Folks back to school.
Oh,
yeah, there are several schools.
I don't know. I'm not.
I've tried to see them, especially when in a newscast, but usually it's so much light here that it's hard for us to see the sky. I've seen beautiful images from folks sending them in to us. So also encouraging for you guys to do that, especially for our Saturday newscast tomorrow. We can show some of those shots.
Yeah,
I know. I love when we get pictures from people like Tim Buckley who have very nice cameras, and you can capture things at night. Like a shooting star. That's what I call them. It's not really a shooting star though, right?
They're like, pretend it is.
They're like fireballs or something in the sky, something like that. I'm a meteorologist. I'm not an astrologist. I am not a geologist. I am not, meteorologist. I don't even study meteors. That's the funny part about it.
People probably think, they're probably like, oh, you must know everything about that.
I mean, I can feel like I know a lot. But the reality is, I don't.
I trust you. I come to you for my science
We are the most accurate weather team.
That's true.
I am a part of that team.
Right.
But beyond that, I just do the weather.
I love that. And it's going to be like really nice weather to be outside.
Yes. I definitely love the summertime where you can go out for a picnic during the day, or even if you want to sit outside at nighttime, whether on your balcony or on the grass, and kind of just soak in the niceness. Because once it gets wintertime, it gets cold.
You be in the house.
We complain about the heat now, but once the winter comes, we're going to be wishing it was hot again.
I'm the opposite. I like the heat. I'm fine with it. I mean, that's also because I lived in Indiana for 3 years, so I think that is kind of contributing to that. But I think it could stay like this, and I'd be okay.
That's how it is for me. People say, why do you like the heat so much? You're from Wisconsin. I said, I like the heat because I'm from Wisconsin. I don't want to be cold anymore.
I remember you told us about those negative temperatures you experienced.
40 below wind chill.
And don't they put a big ice sculpture together in your hometown?
It's like made of ice. Elsa lives in it probably. Elsa and Anna.
I'm cool. I'm okay with these hot temperatures, Monique. So keep it coming. I'm okay with this.
Like it where we are. Like it where we are.
All right, we're going to be right back. So come say hello on Facebook.
G-O-O-D. That's what it feels like outside. Good. Temperatures reading in the upper 70s, low 80s. 79 is what it feels like in Greensboro. 80 in High Point. Again, this is due to these dew points reading in the comfortable range. 58 is the actual number, and you can see the range. 40s is when it's pleasant. 50s is when it's comfortable. 60s is when it's humid, and 70s is when, hey, you just want to stay inside. The dew points over the next 20 hours are going to stay in the comfortable range and then really plummet as we get to around midnight, dropping down to the low 50s. Over the next couple of days, at least your Saturday and Sunday, they're staying in the comfortable range. And then as we go to Monday and Tuesday, that's when they start to ride around that uncomfortable and sticky range, and that sticks all the way through your Friday. So we're staying uncomfortable for the latter part of this forecast. The early part of the forecast is when the weather conditions will be feeling good. So for your Saturday, get on outside, enjoy the weather. It won't last forever, so definitely enjoy it. Sunday, that's when temperatures are staying in those low 80s. The humidity is still not there just quite yet, but the storm chances are. And then as we go through the start of the week, well, we get more rounds of rain possibly.
The number of lonely and single men is going up, according to research shared by Psychology Today. Dating opportunities for heterosexual men are diminishing as relationship standards rise. Dating apps are a huge driver of new romantic connections in the U.S., but data shows 62% of users are men, thus lowering their chance for matches. According to Psychology Today, women between the ages of 25 and 45 prefer men who are emotionally available, good communicators, and share similar values. The article also cites recent Pew research found men are more likely than women to be unpartnered, which wasn't the case 30 years ago.
Interesting.
One thing that I really like about now is that there isn't this constant pressure to always get married so early, right? I mean, I feel like, you know, especially for our parents age, it was like, you better be married by the time you're 25, or at least be with your significant other in a very serious relationship.
My parents got married right out of college. I think they were about 23, and my mom always says she does wish they had waited a little longer so they could get their finances together and certain things like that. But then she says, I wouldn't have had you and your sister if you got married a little later.
Exactly. Well, I have older sisters, so like they're a little bit like 10 years older than me, and even with them, my oldest sister got married at like 25, and like I knew, and like I was growing up, I was like, okay, I got to get married at 25, and obviously that's not happening, and that's fine. I think that like people are waiting a longer time nowadays. They're taking their time. They're focusing on their careers, and then they're finding that person they want to settle down with.
And then I think, especially for women, there's also that delicate balancing act. I know my sister is kind of going through that now, where she's 36 years old. She is in a serious relationship, but she is very open about the fact that, I mean, time is ticking.
Yeah.
She wants to have kids, you know, and so the longer you wait, obviously, the lower your chances are. And so she knows that she's up against that.
I think that dating and relationships is probably one of the hardest things that we can do. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's just hard because you're giving yourself, you're showing yourself to somebody, and you want them to like you, and it's hard to just kind of put yourself out there. So it's definitely a brave thing to do.
And just the process of, going on different dates. It's almost like playing the lottery, especially if you plan to use an app or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Good conversation.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll be right back.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Sorry, I was drinking. Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
Hi, you don't need my mic check.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Out of the studio.
Full tie colors.
Oh, thank
Good.
you.
Why
It's
did you
taped on
hide?
the.
Avery, you know why?
10-9, sorry, I'm putting my thing on. 10-9-8-7-6. Okay, thank you.
It's time for my 2 cents. One of the things I like most about summer are the longer days. Just after 7 p.m., the air becomes cooler and it's a perfect time to go for a walk. I've been doing a lot of walking lately, not only for exercise, but for self-care. During my walks, I like to listen to different podcasts and sermons. Some of the most recent topics have been about building healthier relationships and investing in the future. For the past couple of months, I've found myself in a bit of a rut. There are days I feel like I'm just going through the motions. Wake up, go to work, eat, exercise, and go to bed. Since I started listening to these inspirational messages, I found myself wanting to seek purpose in everything that I do. Purpose in the type of stories I cover. Purpose in the relationships I create with others. Through the years, I've found that purpose can guide your life decisions and help to shape your goals. Purpose can give you a reason to wake up every day with a mission to be the best you can be. I share all this to say, if you found yourself just going through the motions lately, listening to an inspirational message or even reading a motivational book, may just be the thing you need to jumpstart your life. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFNY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Breaking news right now. An unsealed search warrant reveals the federal government is investigating former President Donald Trump for 3 potential criminal violations, including violating the Espionage Act. You're watching WFNY News 2 at 5 o'clock. I'm Julie Luck.
And I'm Lauren Coleman. The warrant was executed at Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence Monday. The FBI seized 11 sets of classified